Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm mixing it up a little bit and I'm actually doing a face cam and voiceover over a speed build. I thought it would give me the opportunity to kind of talk about things other than just the build going on the screen. Not that I don't love doing that, but when I'm building and recording at the exact same time, I obviously hyper focus on what I'm doing on the screen and I can't just talk really like normal. So I thought it would be kind of fun to talk a little bit maybe about myself today. I've gotten, a few more subscribers to this channel in the last few weeks, which is super exciting. And yeah, just like a little bit about me. I've been playing The Sims practically my whole entire life. I've told this story on one of the first videos I posted with a voiceover, but I'll tell it again. I have a memory of going to Best Buy with my mom, I think when I was like 10, around that age. She let me look through the computer game section. That's what I'm trying to say, the computer game section. She told me that I could pick out one computer game because I've always loved playing computer games. And I came across The Sims Pets or Cats and Dogs or whatever it was called in the very first variation of the game. And that was the game that I wanted. And she, of course, looked at it and was like, well, you have to have the base game and I'm not buying you both. So how about, she was, trying to make a deal with me. It's like, how about I buy you the base game? And if you like the base game and this is a game that you actually frequently, consistently play, then at some point in the future, I will buy you this expansion pack. And I obviously loved it. And really, it's just been history ever since. Been playing every iteration of this game since the very first one. Yeah, that's just kind of like my history with The Sims. I play a lot of other games too. I have a Switch. Right now I've been into playing Fields of Mystria, which is really fun. And I have thought about recording and playing that game on the channel too. Not 100% sure that I want to do that yet. But if anybody's watching this and they would like to see that type of content, please feel free to leave a comment down below telling me that you want to see it. But let me get back into the build, or let me just talk about it in general. I really wanted to challenge myself today and use some of the terrain manipulation because I don't use it that often. I find it to be like pretty finicky and I'm just not super practiced in it. So truthfully, I just try to avoid it. But I had this idea of like building a hilltop cottage and I thought that would be really cute. And this ended up being more of like a hilltop tower. And I'm pretty sure that we're calling it a hilltop astronomer's tower because once it kind of like started to become more of a tower shape, I was like, oh, it would be cute to add a telescope here. So it's a hilltop astronomer's tower. I wanted to challenge myself to use the terrain manipulation tool, and I think I did a pretty good job. I don't have the tool mod, so when I was adding some of these debug rocks, like kind of around the outside to make it look like a little bit more, I don't know, like mountainous, rocky, I don't know, just so it didn't just look like a hill, I guess. Some of them are like a little bit raised. I don't think it's super obvious. I definitely can go in and download the tool mod. I'm truthfully just being like a little bit lazy where some of the mods are concerned because you have to go in and like remove them and update them every single time an update comes out. And it kind of feels like we get new updates all the time these days, which I'm not complaining about, but I'm just being lazy where the mods are concerned. But I don't think that the rocks being a little bit elevated is super noticeable. I do try to hide a lot of it with some landscaping later on towards the end of this build. About like the actual like building itself, house, building, it's a house, about the actual house itself, I kind of went for these like darker, like moodier colors. That's kind of like my preferred way to decorate. I think I find myself really gravitating towards a lot of the like, not necessarily warmer tones, but just the darker toned items. And I wanted to use a lot of the vines or the ivy from Enchanted by Nature because I think they're really pretty and I really haven't had the opportunity to use them, which is kind of just leads me into like another little thing about myself. Up until I decided that I wanted to start like recording and posting on YouTube, I had kind of been in like an extended Sims 4 slump where I would try to start building something and then just get really frustrated like part of the way through and not finish it. I think I was just like really lacking inspiration. And when I decided to start this channel, I just kind of threw myself into it and was like, just force yourself to build something, even if it doesn't turn out like exactly the way you want it, like just finish it. And I think, having something to like work towards, like posting for this channel has really kind of helped me push through that slump a lot. So I have been really enjoying building in The Sims 4 again, which has been really nice because for the longest time, I used to really love it. When I was using the vine objects from Enchanted by Nature, the part that I already said was I haven't really had the opportunity to use them. And when I was using them in this build, I discovered that there's multiple different pieces, but they don't all come in the exact same color swatches, which I thought was really strange. I suppose unsurprising, but of course the swatch that I had very first picked out when I placed the first vine, when I started to place more later on in the build, that's when I realized, they don't all come in the same color swatches, because why would they? That wouldn't make sense if they all matched. But here I am moving on into the interior. The exterior came together a lot faster than I thought it would. I really thought that this would take me a long time. I also thought the terrain manipulation would take me a lot longer than it did. So I was pretty proud of myself there. Moving on to the interior though, I wanted to kind of carry in like the darker vibes. I was imagining just one sim living here. There could definitely be 2 sims living here. You could even have more than 2 sims living here. There's definitely space. I just put 1 double bed, I think on the 3rd floor. I did build this like maybe a week or so ago, and I'm just now getting around to doing the voiceover. Been pretty busy, but I wanted it to look a little bit older, but I still wanted it to look like it was cared for. I wanted it to feel worn and kind of like, I guess like mystical a little bit, or magical. I didn't imagine the sim living here to be an occult sim, but I do feel like that would be very easy to work in if you did want to download this build from the gallery. I will put my EA ID in the description box below. I didn't add a ton of stuff like outside of the house right around. I ended up putting a fire pit in the back closer towards the end of the video, but I didn't really add anything else outside because I did add other skill building items inside the home. I don't think I've gotten to this point in the build yet, but I do add like a functional, it's a swimming pool, but it looks more like a natural pond. That was kind of the other like thing that I thought about coming into this build, was I knew that I wanted to have like a pond that kind of had like a stream, then the stream connects to the natural swimming pool in the back. I really like using the pond tool. I use the pond tool all the time, but I don't think I've ever made like a natural looking swimming pool in The Sims 4 before. So I thought that would be really fun to include. I'm using a lot of stuff from Get Together. I'm using a lot of stuff from Werewolves, which I don't really do that often. So I was excited to be able to use a lot of the stuff from Werewolves. I think when I bought the Werewolves pack, it's been a long time. I think I had already started to kind of slip into my building slump. So I just never really got around to using a lot of those items, but I'm using them here. And I think that they really fit like the vibe of this build. I'm also using a lot of stuff from Enchanted by Nature too. And I kind of tried to, for the exterior, stick to mostly those packs. I think it's just those packs. I might have used some stuff from Life and Death too on the exterior. I can't fully remember now, but the interior, at first I was thinking maybe I should limit myself to those packs, but I really wanted to go all out decorating this build. And so I just used really whatever I wanted. Oh, I was also using a lot from Realm of Magic too. And I did try to kind of stick to those as much as I could on the inside, but I really love all the like little decor items from some of the kits that I have, like the kitchen clutter kit. Yeah, so the first floor of this build is just like kitchen and dining, and then like a little entryway space. And then if you go up to the second floor, there's like a small little like library living section and an office and the bathroom. And then if you go up to the third floor, there's actually 4 floors in this home, but the third floor is where the bedroom is, and it also attaches to the patio where I will put the telescope down. And then the fourth floor is kind of just like the tippy top of the tower. I think I just put like another little reading nook up there, but there's not a ton up there because I really just imagined the one sim living here. But I'm saying the word a lot. I'm really trying not to, but I'm also really not used to looking at myself in the camera and just talking straight for 20 minutes or however long this video is. So forgive me. I'm sorry. I really will get better as time goes on. But I've moved on to decorating the bedroom. I wanted this sim to be like pretty into plants, but not the plantiest sim you could possibly think of. I also imagined them to be really into science and logic. I wasn't really thinking about this sim's career. I think that they could do like a multitude of things. They could also just, I don't know, do any of like the work from home type. Not the careers where you actually can work from home, but your Sims can make money doing a lot of things where they don't actually have to do a job. And I could see the Sim living here doing that, or one of the Sims if you wanted there to be two. I added the little bonsai tree just because I thought it fit perfectly in that corner. And although I don't think that this Sim's like main hobby is doing something creative, I do think that they also do kind of lean on the creative side a little bit. I can definitely see a spellcaster living here, but I didn't add any of like the spellcaster items like the cauldron or whatever else there is for gameplay for a spellcaster. That might be all that's in the build and buy mode. I'm really not sure. I am almost done with I am done with the interior. I am moving on to the exterior. And I did kind of struggle with the exterior a little bit. I was dreading doing the landscaping for this build just because I thought it was going to take forever. I really wanted this lot to be really wooded and like nestled into the environment, which I'm pretty sure I say in almost every single voiceover I do, but that's just how I like my builds to look. I also knew that decorating the ponds and the swimming pool was going to take me absolutely forever. Also, I don't think that I mentioned this, but I am building in the world of Windenburg on the Dresden house lot, which is, I think, in-game occupied by the Fires family. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I am sorry, but I did kick them out to build this lot. And I also didn't playtest everything before uploading it to the gallery. I did playtest most of it. I did playtest the swimming pool. I did have to go back in later and delete some of the landscaping around it because I forgot that my sim most likely would not be able to access the pool if there were plants all around it. So not in this video, but post recording, I did add in, I think, a ladder just so there were no issues with your Sims getting in and out of the pool, or my Sims if I decide to play on this lot. But I haven't actually played the game in kind of a while. I've really been focusing on building. Here I am just adding literally as many trees as I possibly can. I loaded out of the game and then loaded back in and it had deleted all of my terrain paint, which I do know is a common glitch, but it's not one that happens to me super frequently. So when I loaded back into the game after maybe a day or so, I was very confused. It's like, what the heck? Did I not do that already? I definitely did. So I'm going back in and I am repainting the freaking terrain paint. When I initially knew that I wanted to add a swimming pool into this build, and then when I started working on the actual build itself, I completely forgot about the swimming pool and started placing some landscaping back in that back corner. And then when I actually, started really working on the landscaping, I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to add a pool. And I'm just trying to make it look as natural as possible. So I'm just adding in like a lot of rocks, the plants that look a little more pondy on the bottom. And then I will go around and I will add a bunch of plants and these little fountains from the patio retreat kit. I don't know, something to do with a patio. Just trying to really make it look as natural as possible. And I do have it like touching the little stream too, because I really wanted it to kind of look like it was like flowing into it. I did the best I could. I don't know how good it looks to you guys. I think it looks really good. I'm pretty proud of myself. I think I'm pretty proud of myself at this point for just completing any build, because again, it's been a really long time. And I'm just so glad that I'm actually having fun with the game again. And I do kind of want to get back into actually playing the game as well, and maybe recording some of that for you guys to watch. I think that could be really fun. I've never recorded myself while actually playing The Sims before, so that could be, interesting for all of us to experience for the first time. I'm just going in and adding a bunch of lily pads and doing terrain paint on the bottom of the pond, which I did already do, so I'm doing it a second time. God, I love this game. Yeah, I mean, really not much to talk about what's going on screen. As you can see, I'm just adding a whole lot of plants. I'm going through debug, trying to find as many as possible that look like they could blend into the world of Windenburg. Let's see, what else can I possibly... Oh, I know what I want to talk about. I know what I want to ask the people who have made it this far into the video. Is anyone here an Ariana Grande fan? I feel like there's got to be some crossover there. Ariana Grande did just release a new album called Petal. And if you've made it this far, and if you're listening to this and you're thinking, yes, I am an Ariana Grande fan, and yes, of course, I listened to Petal, I would love to know what your favorite track off of the album is. You can comment it down below and I will respond and let you know what my favorite track off of the album is. You can also do that with the brand new Charli XCX album that just came out not too long ago. If you don't listen to either one of these albums and you're thinking, God, I really wish this girl would just talk about The Sims, I'm sorry. I simply cannot bring myself to just talk about The Sims when I have multitudes of other interests like pop music. And I'm also trying to do a better job of talking about myself too. So she loves pop music. She can't help it. She loves Ariana Grande, and she would love to know... Why am I talking in third person? I would love to know what your favorite song off the newest album is, or if you just don't like the new album. I will say that it's not my favorite Ariana Grande album ever. Womp womp. Still love her though. We'll still listen to it. Back to the build though. For those of you that are like, please shut the fuck up. Here I am kind of trying to, what's the word? I'm trying to hide the fact that those rocks are kind of floating a little bit. I feel like I did a pretty good job. You can let me know in the comments if you think it looks absolutely like trash. Not everything is always going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that is really okay. And then I'm just going around and adding like a bunch of landscaping just in random places around the lot because I felt like it really needed it. It was just kind of looking a little bit empty. This is a huge lot too. I can't remember how big it is. It might be a 64 by 64. I genuinely cannot remember. Big lots are kind of hard for me to do. I would imagine they're probably pretty hard for most people. Probably not everyone, but for most people. But yeah, I am actually nearing the end of this build at this point. I'm just going around and adding the final touches with some terrain paint. I do add a little more landscaping around the house itself, and then I go in and I add a fire pit behind the back of the house. And that's really it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, especially if you made it all the way to the end and just listened to me yap the whole time. I really am grateful, and I'm grateful for those of you that even just watched like 2 seconds of the video. Thank you for clicking on it. I really do appreciate all of it. Again, I'll put my EAID in the description box below if you have any interest in downloading this. But yeah, thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching it. I would appreciate a like, a comment, a subscribe, but thanks guys.